Welcome, listeners, to Dragon Talk. I'm your host, Ryan Record, and I am thrilled to join you today as we celebrate something truly special, Community College Month. Here at Howard Community College, we are not just observing this important month in April, we are living it every day. And to make it even more exciting, we are also gearing up for National Apprenticeship Day on April 30th. This episode is all about shining a spotlight on Howard Community College, a place that for over 50 years has been the best decision ever for countless students and professionals. We will delve into the incredible opportunities it unlocks and hear from some of the people who are a vital part of our community. From opening doors to affordable, high-quality education for a diverse student body through transfer programs, career training, and professional enrichment, to training the skilled workforce that keeps Howard County thriving in key industries like business, healthcare, technology, and the trades. HCC is at the heart of it all. In fact, did you know that 1 in every 60 jobs in Howard County is supported by the activities of HCC and its students? That's a testament to the profound impact that this institution has on our local economy. But don't just take my word for it. We asked some HCC students to share their experiences.
Hello, my name is Celine Kenneth, and coming here to HCC would be like the safest and also one of the best decisions I ever made. I was scared because, again, come out of high school and go into a 4-year college, pick a major, do this, do that. And I'm like, I don't really know what to do. And while I was in my senior year of high school, I did dual enrollment here at HCC, and I really liked the classes. Really good food as well.
Hi, my name is Luna. I decided to come to HCC before transferring to a 4-year university.
Where are you thinking about transferring to?
Gallaudet University. Yeah, and they have a 5% hearing student population. So as a hearing person, I don't think that straight out of high school I would have been able to get in with my experience. So
I'm Hannah Chambers. I spent my first year actually away in Charlotte, North Carolina for school, but after that year, I kind of just decided to come back home, be closer, do something a bit more comfortable for me, and I decided to join the women's basketball team as well. So then I got affiliated with that and also the Silas Craft Collegians program. So I feel like coming here just made me overall just more involved with what was going on, and I had never had so much support and involvement in a college setting like that before.
Joining the Silas Craft program was one of the best because it surrounded me with a community that I felt safe in, and I'm just grateful that here at ACC they offer so many opportunities, and there are a variety of people that I get to meet and even grow in my faith as well, and I don't have to go out of state to find that.
Also, making friends in different places who are doing different things with their life is very beneficial to kind of see where you want to go, the connections you make, whether it be jobs or even different ideas of what you want to do with your life. It's nice.
There's no rush on anything. I feel like a lot of high school students are like, oh, I need to get out of my hometown, or, I just don't want to be here anymore. I definitely was that way, and it could work for some people, but I think community college is also a really good option to still get credits out the way, get what you need to get done.
Here at ACC is also simple, but yet open. There are a lot of people to help and so many opportunities that you will see at a 4-year college, which is, a lot to expect from a community college, but it's just that good. And honestly, I would recommend ACC to anyone. Come here. You will definitely not regret it.
When you're straight out of high school, it can be kind of hard to see yourself at a community college because everyone's doing the 4-year track, and you might feel like you're falling behind a little bit, but it's really not. It's you're at a crossroads. You're just going a different way. You're not going backwards. And I would definitely say try to find someone, if you're visiting HCC or a community college, that is about to graduate or is about to transfer, because seeing where you're gonna be really helps what you see yourself as today, and it helps you kind of get your hopes up. It's a really exciting experience.
I would say that it was the best decision ever. I'm glad I came back home and got affiliated with so many different programs here, and it just makes me feel a bit more secure in what I'm doing.
Powerful words from those who know firsthand the value of an HCC education. And speaking of career pathways, one of the most dynamic offerings is its apprenticeship program. To tell us more about this incredible Earn While You Learn model, I am delighted to welcome Anderson Jaggernauth to the podcast. Anderson, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me on. I'm doing excellent, man. I appreciate the offer to be here and give voice to the IT Apprenticeship program.
Pleasure to have you. Could you start by sharing a bit of your own story and how you became connected with this amazing initiative?
Sure. So it all kind of came out of like a tragic event. Not necessarily tragic, but I was at another college pursuing healthcare at the time. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get accepted into the healthcare program for a fourth time. If anyone knows anything about healthcare admissions, is that it's once a year. And after waiting 4 years, you just got to move on. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I kind of spiraled down until my brother-in-law told me about two apprenticeship programs, one being the IBE Local 24, which is an electrical apprenticeship program. And then here at HCC, the IT apprenticeship program offered by AT&T. So I applied to both and got accepted to both, which makes things even more confusing because now I'm at a crossroads where I have to decide, do I want to pursue my dream and love in IT, or do I want to pursue something stable and not have to worry about if I don't get accepted to the program or if I don't get my security clearance, I got to start all over again. So after some good deliberation and talking with my wife and convincing her to allow me another opportunity to pursue my dream, she allowed me to pursue the IT apprenticeship program here. And I've been doing it now for going on 3 years.
Wow. Love that, dude. Love that. All right. So for our listeners who may be unfamiliar, can you break down the Earn While You Learn model and what are some of the key benefits for students who choose this path?
Yeah. So Earn While You Learn simply means that we provide you with a part-time job. You work here part-time and for me, it's AT&T, while you also go to school and have your education paid for. You just take a class, you sit in a seat, absorb information, and you use that information to get your industry certifications. And in our case, it's CompTIA certifications.
So that certainly sounds like a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
What range of apprenticeship programs does HCC currently offer?
Sure. So last I checked, there's about at least 10 different apprenticeship programs. You have the IT apprenticeship program, which is the one I'm in. You have help desk, you have hospitality, you have plumbing, you have surgical technology, you have LPN, you have biomedical equipment technology, you have HVAC, you have accounting, you have electrical apprenticeship, you have construction management, and I do believe they're working on a few more to bring down the line as well.
Nice. And you heard about the new apprenticeship building.
I heard, yeah. I just found out about it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, it's really game changing that you can literally get an education for free and transition straight into an occupation with no hassle.
That's incredible.
It's fantastic.
So it's clear that these apprenticeships strengthen individual career paths, but how do you think they contribute to a broader workforce demand and meet the needs of local industries?
Yeah, they definitely meet the need for local industries because what happens is with the Earn While You Learn model is you have an employer sponsor who essentially says, I'll take on the responsibility and pay for this individual for them to go to school. I'm going to take a gamble on them. And in return, once they complete their education and they're also working there part-time, they're going to make a commitment to work full-time with us. So that in itself is bridging the gap and meeting the commitment for the nation's demand. The nation needs skilled laborers in whatever field it is. And with Earn While You Learn model, it just provides a perfect pipeline straight to the employer. Again, they're paying for your education and they require a year or two out of you after that. And I think it's a win-win situation.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
What's the typical balance between like classroom learning and on-the-job training that you receive?
Well, it's really straightforward. During Monday through Fridays, we work at AT&T. We have managers that we're assigned to that we do various tasks with. And once our shift is done, they're just like really 4-hour shifts. Once your 4-hour shift is done, you can either go home or start preparing for school or come straight to school. And you come to classes and then you keep doing that over and over until you finish your program. It's life-changing, you know. In my case, that I've seen so many success stories of individuals who have their security clearance. They're working at various classified locations, working for the federal government, making a really great income and serving our nation and meeting the nation's demands.
Yeah. All right. So National Apprenticeship Day is right around the corner on April 30th. As we approach it, what advice would you give to someone considering an apprenticeship as an alternative to the traditional college route?
I would say it's probably hands down one of the best things you can do. I've come from another college, so I've had to take those quote unquote useless classes, like why do I need to take CSMY 101 if I came straight out of high school? I know how a computer works, why do I need to take English again if I've done 4 years of English, So I would say it really cuts out all of that time that you could be using, and you can just use it to get straight into your core classes. And that's, in a sense, what it's done for me. So I would tell anyone interested in pursuing an apprenticeship program, act now, act fast while the window of opportunity is still there. Take advantage of it. And I promise you won't regret it, because your decision to bet in yourself and enter into something new and competitive will just reward you in the end. You just got to be willing to put the work in as you would if you went to a 4-year or 2-year college.
And finally, Anderson, how does HCC actively work to connect potential apprentices with suitable employer partners?
So that would probably be more so of a question for the apprenticeship program. But what I do know is the apprenticeship program works with employee sponsors who pays for an education for the individuals.
Okay.
They pay for it for a 2-year education.
Nice.
They pay for certifications as well. So that's kind of how it works. So I would say for individuals who is looking for an apprenticeship program at HCC, talk to the apprenticeship program and find out if your program has an employee sponsor who would be willing to pay for your education in addition to providing you with a part-time job once you're finished.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insights into HCC's fantastic apprenticeship program.
Definitely. And I'd like to say anyone in your audience who's willing to follow my journey, follow my story, please be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and on LinkedIn.
To gain an even broader perspective of the impact of community colleges, not just here at HCC, but across the entire state of Maryland, I am honored to be joined by
Solá-Carter
and Brad Phillips.
And thank you so much for joining me today as we celebrate Community College Month. You each bring unique viewpoints, being prominent members of the Maryland Association of Community Colleges, otherwise known as MACC. Could you each share a little bit about yourselves, including your role and how you became associated with MACC?
So it's a privilege to be here speaking to the community college audience and beyond. I joined the board of Howard Community College in 2016, and I've gone through all the roles on the board. But along the way, the then president, Dr. Kathleen Hetherington, nominated me to serve on the board of the Maryland Association of Community Colleges. And I now have the extraordinary privilege of serving as the president of MACC.
And I'm Brad Phillips. I'm the Executive Director of the Maryland Association of Community Colleges. I work for Trustees Solá-Carter, as well as a 32-member board of directors that are comprised of every community college president and their board of trustees. We work with statewide policy issues that impact community colleges as a segment, and it's been a privilege to do so. I've had the position since 2021. Prior to that, I had also worked at MACC from an institutional researcher perspective all the way up to Deputy Executive Director until being appointed the Executive Director.
Very cool. So you each have remarkable vantage points of seeing the landscape of community colleges statewide and here at HCC. So for our listeners who may be unfamiliar, can you please explain the primary role and key functions of MACC?
Sure, I'll be happy to. The primary role and functions of MACC is to be the united voice of Maryland's 16 community colleges. We have, as I mentioned, a board of directors. They set our legislative agenda. We have a strategic plan. We work heavily during the Maryland legislative session, regulating legislation, advocating on behalf of community colleges, and really particularly around operating budgets and how that impacts your audience is extraordinary. How much the state provides in operational funding is directly linked to how much you pay in tuition and fees. So as we advocate on behalf of Maryland's 16 community colleges, we really do advocate on behalf of our students for any support the state can provide. Really is the key to having an accessible and affordable community college system.
Yeah, that's vital. Could you also please explain a few of MACC's key directives and their significance?
Sure. So our strategic plan is a good place to start. We're in the process of renewing that at the moment, but sort of the key strategic goals that we have are to maintain affordable and accessible post-secondary education. That comes from whether it be advocating for funding through the John A. Cade funding formula, or actually getting funding for these beautiful facilities that you have here on your campus at Howard Community Colleges, as well as the other 15 community colleges. So that is really bread and butter issues, operating and capital budgets. There's also a lot of other academic legislation that goes forward, and we advocate the position of how a piece of legislation might impact students or our administration. How is it in the best interest of our institutions to advocate whatever the legislation may be? Some of it deals with apprenticeship opportunities, broadening the scope of really what it means to be a post-secondary student. It's not just degrees anymore. It's all types of learning opportunities beyond high school, whether it be internships, apprenticeships, career and technical education, vocational training, associate degrees and transfer programs, as well as in career programs. So there's just a rich depth and broadness to what is offered at a community college, is unlike any other higher education institution.
I couldn't agree more. As somebody that attended HCC years ago, to find myself working here again, it truly is a magical place. And to just meet the people that are behind making it all happen, it's awesome. So how do you all advocate for the benefits of community colleges to the state of Maryland and the students they serve?
So we are present in every possible way. It's key that we have an excellent relationship with our elected officials, since they are the ones who determine the contributions that will be made to our system and also impact how we do business, etc. One example of that was our late trustee, Mr. Turner, Frank Turner, who was instrumental in establishing the Promise program to make sure that there was indeed a venue and funds for students who would otherwise not be able to participate. But one thing about community colleges and about anyone who serves on a board or is associated with MACC is that we touch the lives of every single entity and every single population in the state. So we open a door for growth, personal education, community involvement, fun, the arts, etc. So whatever it is that you think you're interested in trying and learning about and so on, you can do it with us.
Very cool. And I know that the Maryland legislative session just wrapped up, but what are some of the association's current legislative priorities and how will they impact community college students?
That's a great question, and we take it very seriously. To give a little bit of background, MACC was formed to be a voice for the legislative session, to be able to advocate on behalf of community college students. Prior to MACC, there was no voice. It's important to understand that the General Assembly is the ones who really passed the legislation regarding the funding for community colleges. They put in law how much they would like the governor to allocate to community colleges. It's a mandate. And if he cannot fund according to the budget based on all sorts of variables, revenue projections, structural deficits, he has to introduce legislation to ease some of those mandates on the state budget. So we work very hard to explain what some of those easements might mean for community college students in particular. So we advocate primarily around how do we get legislators to understand the value of community colleges as being one of the best tools they have in their district for socioeconomic mobility for students that are underrepresented or underserved in higher education. You are really cutting back if you cut funding for those students in particular. But that said, many do understand the role of community colleges and happen to be very strong advocates for us in the General Assembly. So it's making sure that we collaborate with all our interested partners, working with our other associations, such as the Maryland Association of Counties, who also funds community colleges, to really push the state to do as much as they possibly can to help students and fund them accordingly and give them the facilities they need to have that educational experience that's seamless when they do transfer, if they do, to a four-year institution.
Yeah, vital. So, Feli, how does your role at HCC inform your perspective of MACC and vice versa?
So serving on the HCC board, I came to learn a great deal about what it means to be at a community college. I did not fully realize all that happens in this magical place, all the opportunities, the cross-section of humanity that we can serve, that we reach out to. I think that really hit me in the face when I attended my first graduation as a member of the board. It was exhilarating to be there and to see the difference that having accomplished this program means in the lives of every one of those individuals and the families and friends and others who were there to celebrate it. That to me is one of the best days of the year to see this happen. But we impact everyone from children on campus, working currently with our Community Action Council partners, to culinary programs, to the, of course, the joint accreditation with the high school students who can start their advanced career early here, which is phenomenal because that has such an impact on them and their families from any number of ways. And our current very exciting project, which is the Workforce Center, the bringing the trades on campus. That is such an essential part of our economy. So I've learned a great deal from sort of a grassroots level as a resident and as a newbie member of the board back in 2016, moving on to eventually as chair of the board. That brought a different perspective, particularly since it happened during the time of COVID. And it really brought home the depth and breadth of consequences of that for our population. So it's a privilege to be joining you this morning in this role. Thank you.
It's a privilege to have you guys. Thank you. And I'm glad you brought up the new apprenticeship building at
Workforce Center, Workforce Development Center.
The workforce, yes.
Yes.
So as you know, Governor Moore just signed the Registered Apprenticeship Investment for a Stronger Economy, or RAISE Act, into law. Yes. We here at HCC are excited to announce the expansion of our apprenticeship program. Mm-hmm. But in what ways do you see the RAISE Act transforming the role of community colleges in Maryland?
Well, this provides a phenomenal entry point for a wide swath of the population, not just our traditional high school graduate students, but others, young adults of any age, in terms of learning skills that are so essential for us to function as an economy. I happen to have a relative who has been extremely successful in the air conditioning field, but who has lamented for years how difficult it is to find individuals who have the interest and the capacity to learn this trade. And it's always been a point of discussion in our household, just from the common person's perspective, as to why do we not offer this here in all places. And I believe Howard County is the last community college in the state to really go deep into the workforce development perspective. Once upon a time, our school system had a similar program up through the high school level. Mm-hmm. And a number of years ago, for reasons that at the time seemed the right decision, decided to limit those offers. And so we've had a huge gap in providing access to that type of learning and those career paths and those needs for our business community. I think it speaks to the need, the fact that we were able to quickly and generously were able to fund this initiative.
It's very exciting stuff. So how do you think the RAISE Act will support Maryland's long-term goals for higher education access and equity?
This is actually going to tie a lot of things together for your audience, because MACC actually is the entity that rates the community college facilities programs and provides that information to all the state bureaucracies that then go and put it in the governor's budget. It wasn't that long ago, and I'm not talking decades ago, I'm talking 3 or 4 years ago, that facilities like this workforce center that you're talking about would not have been eligible because it was not seen as credit academic space. So MACC worked really hard to get the governor's office, the Department of Budget and Management, the Maryland Higher Education Commission, Department of General Services to understand that we do more than just offer credit instruction and that we need to expand, particularly in this area, because these are really good paying jobs for people that don't have access to those types of careers at the moment. So working with the legislature and all of the governor's executive officers, we were able to actually get this project, as well as another one at another college, funded. The RAISE Act is just another example of the partnership I think that Maryland's community colleges have with the governor. He wears his dog tags, he wears his wedding ring, and he wears his 2-year college ring. He understands the value of community colleges and what we're doing. We've hit a stagnant sort of period where he's looking at ways in which we can diversify our economic opportunities and invest more in these types of programs. Apprenticeships are a prime example of where he would like to see more from Maryland's community colleges. And with the RAISE Act, we should be able to provide more opportunities for students in apprenticeships, in career and technology education, and all the entire array of opportunities that exist, particularly now in a world that's constantly changing and updating and high tech, where people need to continually go back and get retooled and reskilled. This is a really good moment for us.
Yeah. So, no, I was just wanted to just add a comment that the days of you are once and done in terms of education are long over. And I think we live in a time, an exciting time, where one must continuously refresh one's knowledge, one's skills, one's ability to do one's work. And I think community colleges are uniquely suited by virtue of our location, our philosophy, the caliber of our educational teams, our leadership, particularly in Maryland, to really quickly move to make that possible.
It's a really cool initiative, and I had no idea that MACC was behind making sure all this budgetary stuff for the new Workforce Center is coming together. So what do you think success will look like a year from now and 10 years down the road with the RAISE Act?
Oh, boy. I think maybe some context would be helpful. I think the 20th century model has changed. The social constructs in which we live have changed, where community colleges' time is even more critical than it was. Barbara Mikulski talked about community colleges being one of the most significant social inventions of the 20th century. I think we're really coming to our own now because of some of the reasons that Trustee Solá-Carter just mentioned, that we need to constantly be able to give students the skills that they need to live and work in this economy. It's not so much about the degrees. And getting people to understand that training can happen through this apprenticeships is key to getting good paying jobs for students. It's for getting people that are not in the economy, included in the economy, that may not be able to go to a college for 4 years, but still get a well-paying job, sustainable lifestyle, all by becoming either an apprentice or some other type of career technical educational training, licensure or certification will get you a solid middle class job and off of sort of helping more people get into the economy. So I think in 10 years, you'll see more of that pivot, more importance going to be placed on community college in general, and the opportunities that exist for not just recent high school graduates, but for displaced workers, whether we're talking about the federal workforce in Maryland right now. We have several initiatives to reskill and retool federal laid-off workers so that they can have another shot at some type of career. We're going to become more embedded, I think, into the fabric of our local and regional economies, which feed the entire picture of how the state moves forward.
Yes.
Great answer. So what do you all see as some of the biggest challenges and opportunities facing community colleges in Maryland in the coming years?
Well, I think funding is the never-ending challenge for any institution.
Sure.
We've been blessed in Howard County that our county executive, Calvin Ball, who is both a graduate of Howard Community College and went on to continue his education and get his PhD on community colleges, and has been a lifelong supporter. But he has been a strong partner in supporting our moves to expand and invest in the county, understanding the return on investment to the county for this. There are changes coming because of what is happening on the federal level. So we have to keep our eye on how we continue to move forward and make sure that we continue to deliver what our population needs and what we can anticipate it will need that it does not necessarily recognize at this point.
Looking ahead.
Looking ahead.
4D chess.
Always.
You have a dream county executive in Dr. Ball who understands the value of community colleges.
And he's a Towson alum as well, much like myself.
Yes.
And finally, what message would you all like to share with our policymakers and the general public about the long-term value and importance of investing in community colleges?
Well, I'll tell a story that might get at that. It was told by a president talking about noticing a student, and their classmates noticed a student coming to class every day wearing the same clothes, and asked him, did he need anything? And turns out he was homeless and living under a bridge. And it took about 6 months of going to school to become a commercial truck driver and getting immediately starting pay around $60,000, $70,000. And the significance of that story has always impacted me, because you're taking an individual who has not been contributing, has had real issues, giving them a short-term sort of opportunity to get a credential and then go directly into a well-paying job. I think that is a sort of a success story and a microcosm of how we can help at one end of the spectrum, contrast to a lot of students that go to Howard Community College because it's an excellent school. It's a great academic experience, and it's a great path for them to go directly into a transfer program or into a career. So it's the whole gamut, I would say.
Yeah. I think we touch the lives of every resident of our county, every resident of the state of Maryland and beyond. We have open doors for anyone and everyone, regardless of their circumstances. I am particularly pleased with the support programs we have for working parents, unwed moms, individuals who don't have steady housing. And so whatever your dreams may be and whatever your needs are, we really give it 100% to try to make it come true.
That's so cool. I can't thank you guys enough for joining me on the show today, sharing some of your invaluable insights, and also thank you for your dedication to community colleges across Maryland and here at HCC. It was an absolute pleasure to host you all on Dragon Talk. Thank you.
Privileged to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we wrap up today's episode, it's clear that Howard Community College and community colleges across Maryland are more than just educational institutions. They are vital hubs for opportunity, workforce development, and economic growth. From the inspiring stories of students finding their path, to the crucial role of apprenticeships in building a skilled workforce, and the collective advocacy of MACC, the importance is undeniable. As we continue to celebrate Community College Month throughout April, I encourage you to explore the incredible opportunities available at Howard Community College. Visit our website at www.howardcc.edu to learn more about our programs, resources, and how HCC continues to be the best decision ever for so many. Let's also take a moment to recognize National Apprenticeship Day on April 30th. And the powerful influence of our Earn While You Learn programs. Thanks again to our insightful guests, Anderson Jaggernauth, Solá-Carter, and Dr. Brad Phillips, for sharing their experience and expertise. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And one last shout out to Jonathan Jalbert for starting the show and the impact you've had in your time spent at HCC. Join us next time for more inspiring stories and valuable information on Dragon Talk. Until then, remember to take care of yourself, then take care of someone else. This is Ryan Record, signing out.